Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining in. We'll get started. Let's wait for a few more folks to join in, and we'll get going soon. How is everyone doing? Okay, let me just check if I can hear you guys. Can you guys hear me? All okay? Thanks, Ross, for confirming. Wow, a great day today, I would say. We saw everything today looks to be everything up day in the markets. At least that's a midweek, everything green. Whether it's a stock or the crypto, today was a pretty good day. I don't know. Let's see what's on the crypto side. Okay. Yeah. So a lot more strength seeing on the BT on Ethereum as well as Bitcoin. All I think been doing great in terms of anticipation of an ETF being approved. We'll see how long does this goes. But pretty exciting to see a Bitcoin making a good run. And overall, let's look at an overall market side. It's still 2.48 trillion, which is in the recent months, I think this is the highest from overall crypto market cap perspective, which is, take it with a pinch of salt. No change in the top view, except that the Binance coin has suddenly jumped up higher, and Tether is now almost $70 billion. Despite all the FUD going around with Tether, this continues to stay on as top 5, which is exciting. Sometimes puzzling to see it. Other than that, I think there's a lot of action happened on Polkadot because of the new auctions that will be done for the parachains. So suddenly we saw some interest in Polkadot in the last 2 days ago. I would say, if you look at 7 days, yeah, it's like yesterday, from 36 all the way to 40. At one part of time, it was like up 20%. And that's because of the auction, new parachains being auctioned. And if you recall our discussion around Polkadot, sometimes I think that this is not even level 1 protocol. This might call it as a level 0 protocol because this provides framework for other blockchains, other level 1 blockchains. So for the new set of parachains, there was an auction which is supposed to happen, and I think that's where the announcement was. We suddenly saw a jump on it, and then again the excitement will wane. Have to see how this continues to grow, but to me this is pretty exciting project, the Polkadot. But we still have to see in terms of its growth and how many projects starts to use Polkadot infrastructure, its substrate, to create their own blockchains, and without worrying about how to secure it, without worrying about the consensus mechanism and all that. Delegate everything to Polkadot, delegate everything to their relay chain, and just focus on building the greatest applications on the parachain. So from that perspective, the project is really exciting. The only question is delivery. How long and how quickly can Gavin Wood and his team deliver? But a lot of things happening on the Polkadot. So continue to be pretty excited about it. What else had changed? Anything else you guys have been tracking, looking on? Any specific ones? Solana, again, has, I think, had some okay run in the recent times. It did fall off from its all-time high, I think was around 180 or something, right? 180 and then faded down. But with the backing of FTX, right? See, not CZ, Sam Bankman-Fried. I think this, despite all the fear that community have, or all the concentration that Solana has, despite all that, I think still a lot of projects will continue to run on it. The FTX is a big exchange. That's the biggest futures exchange in the world, and they will continue to use Solana. Sam Bankman-Fried have been in Solana right from beginning, and so I think that it will continue to be active. Now, depending on what your thesis is, you might want to pick this up or not. I'm staying on the side, just watching the what's happening on Solana as an ecosystem. My own concerns around the decentralization of Solana, and we saw some risk because of that in I think a few weeks ago when it was down for some time. And but not every use case needs that decentralization, right? And so
can you explain more?
Anyone else in Solana? Sorry, there was a question.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Thanks for creating this meetup. I just want to ask, what do you mean by the decentralization of Solana? Because I thought, I didn't quite understand in comparison to what, because I thought most of the apps are also decentralized.
So decentralization, when I see, it's not a binary decision that you are either decentralized or you're not. I would say it's a spectrum of decentralization. So if you look at a Solana and Solana validator requirements, right? So if anyone wants to validate the transactions on Solana, to validate the transactions on Solana, to create a node on Solana, the requirement is so huge that not everyone can become a validator on Solana, right? So it means the number of validators on Solana probably are limited, because I cannot become, I don't want to invest thousands of dollars to become a validator on Solana. In case of, let's say, Ethereum, you can actually create a validator platform on Raspberry Pi. So the number of validators on Ethereum probably runs into tens of thousands. Right? That's not the case with Solana. The number of validators are limited. Now, when those things become limited, they could be susceptible to, let's say, a nation stack, or let's say susceptible to what do you call cease of operation under a nation, right? So if
like a group of people that just does Solana, basically, like a purpose-driven organization.
So it's run by a foundation, but still for when the miners process the transactions, those need to be validated by the validators, right? Higher the number of validators, more the number of validators, more geographically those are spread, the lesser is the risk of someone, a nation state, or a particular country, or a big player shutting it down, right? If that's not the case, then as long as everything runs fine, is great. But the moment someone wants to, or say a particular country wants to ban, and in their, say, United States wants to ban Solana, and the United States and its allies decide to ban all the validators, And if there are only limited number of validators, you run into the risk of censorship and all that stuff. So that's it. It's a spectrum. At what spectrum are you okay with it? The reason why the Solana is so fast is because the number of validators are pretty less. So that's why you can run all these transactions so quickly. That's one reason, but it's okay. At some point of a time, the developers have to decide what is more important for them. So there is the blockchain trilemma. Right. So if you look at a blockchain trilemma, let's pick anyone. Right. There is always we have to pick up either scalability, security, or decentralization, right? So you have to give up something for one or the other, right? So security, I would consider, is something which no blockchain would like to compromise on. If it is not secure, then it's rather, no one want to create any applications on that project. Now, scalability and the decentralization. You can choose how scalable you want your system to be or how decentralized you want the system to be. Right now, I think Ethereum and a blockchain, especially let's say Bitcoin, has decided to focus a lot more on decentralization than on scalability. That is why at the core level, L1 level, Bitcoin is slow. The number of transactions that you can do per second on Bitcoin network is slow. But that's the choice that the Bitcoin community had made. They want to make it censorship resistant. They want to make it nation state attack resistance. But that means they cannot have tens of thousands of transactions per second on Bitcoin blockchain itself. It's okay for the use case that community is trying to drive, which is store of wealth, which means they probably are not expecting to do on the Bitcoin blockchain itself a lot of transactions. Some other projects could focus and do more on the scalability side, but sacrifice something on the decentralization, which Solana has done that for them, the scalability is more important and decentralization may not be. So so I think it is important for you as an investor to know what choices that community is making. Because to achieve one thing, if you have to give up another, and then if it matches with your thesis, if you're okay with it, go at it. Be a part of that project and help that out. But if it not, then you might want to look at a little deeper on whether you want to be associated with this or not. That's all I wanted to say. So Solana is less decentralized than, say, Ethereum. And they have a reason that they are hugely scalable at the level 1 itself. So Ethereum and Bitcoin both have decided that at the core level, they want to focus more on decentralization. It means that they are not as scalable as Solana or as scalable as some of the other blockchains, or they are fine with it. They don't want to sacrifice decentralization. Now, to address the scalability, there are other solutions that are being built on top of Bitcoin or on top of Ethereum, right? We got layer 2 scaling solutions. On Ethereum, we got the sidechain solution on Polygon. We got layer 2s on Arbitrum and Optimism. On Bitcoin, we got Lightning Network. And now I think Blockworks is working on another one, which is liquid chains. Those could be the side chains. I don't know if that is live yet or not, but Lightning Network is very, it's functioning. On Lightning Network, you can do your transactions which run under, sub-seconds. So, but then there is some aspects of, if we are on a Lightning Network, how about their finality? How is your transaction finality? On Bitcoin, if you transact on Bitcoin, it's final. It is irreversible. But if you are doing on a Lightning network, you might want to, you might sacrifice that irreversibility for some use cases. Right? If I'm paying on a Starbucks and I might want to pay, I will be okay, and Starbucks may be okay to accept Bitcoin payment, the payment on or through Lightning network, and I'll be okay with, to have that. If it needs to be reversed, it's probably okay, but I may not want to do it for some other use cases. So now, depending on the use cases, there are multiple solutions, and what works for you and what you are more comfortable with it. I think that's more important to understand, and then go after that project. Sorry, a long answer to a short question, but this is a often misunderstood concept when, as a retail, especially those who are not from this industry, who are not working in crypto industry or crypto companies, this concept is not pretty, that much familiar. So I see many users jumping on to from one coin to another, saying, "Oh, this is faster than Ethereum. Oh, this is even faster than Solana." It's okay, but what's it? What price are we paying? What price is that project or
Yeah.
community has decided to pay to become faster? So that's a
Yeah,
question.
I guess for most retail is more like the price and whether you think it will go jump. So I think for there are a lot of questions, and I still have, and a lot of things that I need to research on.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sorry. Yes, I mean, price is one thing. So if you're looking at price will jump, what's our outlook? Price will jump in next 1 week, 1 month. Then it's more become of, speculations around, okay, I want to do it. If you really want to be, and I see these crypto investments no different than I see any stock investment. Right? If you want to understand, if you want to invest, finally it's my money, it's not other people's money. We don't run hedge funds. We have to invest our own money. So I'd rather be careful of where I want to put my own dollars. So the idea is, let's understand what this project is doing. Let's understand what the tokenomics are, what the sacrifices, what the choices that this community had decided to make, and then confirm, am I okay with that or not? Right? So Solana probably has worked out great for many people, right? But this is something that I have not pulled the plug yet on this one for long term, and that's just me. Someone who wants to look at maybe trade in the swing that's currently happening, or the market momentum. Will it go up? Maybe every coin might go up, right? And then if someone wants to trade in or out, their choice. I generally am more of let's spend some time, let's learn about the project, and then if we become comfortable, then I'll look at spending my time and money behind it. What else has changed? You also saw the Shiba Inu has suddenly jumped up. So these like Dogecoin, Shiba Inu have done great, have zero real project behind it, but it's a meme world. Things are run by how many followers are trying to follow it, and if someone is willing to pay a penny above what it's currently being traded at, we see Shiba Inu is now number 13. This amazes me, and this came because, again, I think Elon Musk had tweeted Shiba Inu, a dog picture. That's the world we are living in. A dog picture gets tweeted by Elon Musk, and everyone then starts to jump on Shiba Inu. And people who are jumping in also know that it's a roller coaster with the other end is broken, but we don't know. We are blindfolded on it. So if you get in, get out, great. How long will this continue? Only time can tell. But now we saw what Shiba Inu went up 200%, 300%. Someone could have taken a long shot on this one, could have taken a bet. it's like a lottery ticket. So there are.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, do they even have a project?
No.
Yeah, that's the thing. What are your thoughts on DeFi?
DeFi, pretty excited.
Pooling and staking and things like that.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about the progress that's happening on the DeFi side of the house. Liquidity pooling or yield farming. I don't do yield farming or liquidity pooling, but of course I do staking and maybe probably take some loans, etc. But the amount of I mean the API that you can get when you are staking your coins is or even forget about the coins. Even if you just take a stable coin and stake it in either on the DeFi or on some TradFi, the interest that you get is way better than what you get in your normal banks, right? And then if you want to do liquidity, basically you want to pool and provide liquidity to a particular pool, you get additional a fee. You get a fee on top of that. So I'm pretty bullish about what we are seeing in DeFi. Only thing is the DeFi will get regulated, which is good. So there may be
there's a lot of rug pulls, especially with some of the early DeFis that come out. But I feel like there are some like Pancake Swap, Pancake Honey, and Pancake Bunny that seem to have been out for a while. I don't know what your thoughts are, but they seem to be more legitimate. They've been, evaluated, and they've been out, for a long time, and they always put out new information.
Yeah, I think you're right, Lisa. It's very important to stick to a player that have been around for a long time. There could be many rug pulls. So like say Uniswap, Pancake Swap, Sushi Swap, these have been around the decent platforms. And then Aave, Curve, Compound, these are the trusted platforms. And I guess that's something which we could play in, in these platforms. At least any of the technical vulnerabilities probably have been sorted out. I see a question. Can we place trailing stop on shit coins like Shape if we decide to play? I think you can. I don't know in terms of which brokerage firm allows you to actually put a trailing stops. That depends on what platform you're using to buy or sell these coins. Unfortunately, unlike the stock market platforms, the stock trading or option trading platforms, the crypto have a very basic features. You can buy, sell, maybe put a limit order, and I think pretty much that, especially the ones which are regulated exchanges, pretty much that. So you cannot really go and put a trailing stops or one cancel another's, or those the little more complex type of orders. So only thing you'll have to do is to go and have a limit order and keep adjusting the price. So that becomes a lot more headache. I mean, these are lottery tickets. If you want to play in Shape, be ready to lose whatever you want to play in. These are the lottery tickets. So
yeah, I'm curious as to a lot of things. I search a lot through YouTube. I've only been on crypto for the last 6 months, and so I'm a newbie, obviously. But I'm interested about strategy. So knowing that sometimes this seems to be slightly bearish right now, although it seems to be heading in a more bullish, slowly direction, up and down. What are your strategies for DeFi? So, for example, if you're doing DeFi, do you, for example, pull out your money and just take it out, or do you, when the coin is low, do you just keep kind of like harvesting and putting it back in, and then wait until, you know, the coin value goes up and then take a good chunk out? Or like, what's your strategies? Can you share, or anyone here?
Yeah, so I've not been too much active. So my involvement on the DeFi is I would stake it, take a loan out of it, take a USDC out of it, and then put a USDC on Celsius or BlockFi to earn 8%. Along with the
But if Honey's offering 500%, and but the coin is not valued very much, so I don't know if my strategy is correct because I'm a newbie, but I'm not pulling it out because I know that I feel like the value of the coin is going to go up. It's already been out for a while, so I don't think it's a reg pull. And with 500%, for example, for a liquidity pool, that's really good. And you know, if I pulled it out, I would be making like $45 a day, but I don't want to do that. So if I hold and like recycle and wait for the coin value to go up, when I pull it out, it'll be worth so much more. I don't know what your thoughts are on this. Is it just better to be like very safe, or?
It depends on how much time you have, right? Along with the regular full-time job, and then with the stock market, I don't want the crypto to overwhelm me in terms of that how I want to manage it, right? So if I have something that I really need to constantly watch out for and see, hey, is this what's happening in this particular coin, you know, whichever coin may be. The reason someone is giving it 500% is it means that you also have an equivalent amount of a risk in that. As long as you have a time to monitor that and focus on all the developments happening around that particular project, it might work out. It won't work out for me. So I want to be a little more hands off in terms of I don't want to spend a lot of time in trying to do and manage and monitor my transactions. So I generally play on the project that have been around for some time, the coins that the projects that are building something which of real value, you know, and then, you know, invest in that and then invest it for a longer period, right? So I probably will not pick up anything wherein I've not spent decent amount of a time to understand what these projects do, how big is their community, what's their adoption going around, you know, who are the founders, how their tokenomics work and all that. So because I don't have a time to manage on daily basis, I don't have a time to figure out when this chart is going to go against me. My time period is in years, if not months. So that's just me. That doesn't mean to say that you cannot do it, just that my lifestyle does not allow me or won't support that sort of in and out trading.
What do you think
hope
about?
that answers.
No, I love it. And you know, again, I have like so many questions because I do so many YouTube searches, and I'm sure like anyone else can chime in too. And we don't have to put you always on the spot. This is my first time here, so I've like, but in any case, I guess I've been on another crypto meetup, and one person had mentioned that his approach was basically to get in at, like, basically he just looks at liquidity. He looks at whether he can get in early with altcoins, like, you know, S coins, and he gets in early and then he sells early, and with no intention of ever holding it over the long term. And that seems very high risk to me, but it seems to be a strategy. He said he quit his job and he was able to, you know, to do well, you know, based upon that. I don't know what your thoughts are, other people in this group.
Yeah, some of those, if someone has got into Bitcoin in 2015, probably could quit his job now, right? The idea is those S coins, one of them, if that works out, great. But do you want to take that risk of dealing in those S coins only? it might work out, it may not work out. So for me today, I was just chatting on the Slack. So crypto portfolio, my thought process was it has hit a new all-time high. Is now becoming way bigger than what I started with. I have to pay more attention, but it's for me the growth has been consistently dollar cost averaging and holding. But that doesn't mean to say that I could have tried to time the market, but then you really have to be on the lookout to figure out all your entry and exit points, which I don't have a time to do it. I don't know. Someone else is actually is more active in trading, can chime in, but I am not very active on trading. I focus more on the fundamentals, and then jump in if I really like the project. Alexis says mining is the way to go. Yeah, if you're in mining also, you can mine the coins. I mean, there are multiple ways to stay engaged in this particular economy. Right? Mining is another.
Does anyone have any experience with helium at all? Because I ordered a bunch of helium miners and probably it's been like arrived. 5 months.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting.
we talked about helium, I think, multiple times in this, and that's a lot of people have questions.
It's pretty stable. Actually, it doubled since I bought the helium coin, but I'm still waiting for the transponders, the miners to come. Yeah. And it's been like 4 or 5 months and I'm still waiting.
Yeah, those helium nodes are severely back ordered. And I think the wait time.
China. So with all the backup with the ports, maybe I'll get it next year.
If you're lucky.
But good thing is that I think they're burning every 2 years. So I still have some time to wait until the coin doubles again.
Yeah. So again, the helium, the thesis behind helium is, right, number one, growth in IoT related devices. Number two is with their new 5G, hopefully we'll have the Wi-Fi with a higher capacity, and then may be able to replace the Wi-Fi that is, currently the fiefdom of a few players, right? So it's a pretty interesting project. And I think one of a kind, and I expect to see many more projects coming up like these, which are disrupting the basic infrastructure. And the helium is now challenging the basic telecom players on providing connectivity, right?
And you could even stake helium now. So they have helium staking, which they didn't have before. And so, it's like 5% or something. So it's not great, but it's something if you're going to hold the coin.
Yeah. So last time when we did analysis on the helium, the amount of rewards that a helium miner gets from the data was around only, I think, 30%. The rest of the helium tokens that are generated for miner are coming either from being a challenger or a challengee, or I think there are 3 or 4 ways for a miner to earn those rewards, right? So unless I see more growth in terms of the data, I would rather want to wait and see how much of the growth is happening in terms of its usage of the Wi-Fi, usage of the data. Otherwise, burning coins, staking, it's all within the ecosystem. You're trying to pump up the prices. It'll work out as long as the next person sees that, hey, if I stake, I can get 6%. Let me buy this. Or if they're going to burn the coin, let me buy before they burn the coin. But those will not be sustainable in the long term if the real use case of companies wants to have a cheaper Wi-Fi for their IoT devices, or as an individual, I want to have a cheaper Wi-Fi than what AT&T is, the cheaper connections than what, let's say, AT&T is providing, and I want to use the helium networks data from,
Yeah, but I mean, they even claim that you can't use the same, you can't use it in the same way as just say like getting Sprint. And they were actually saying that it's not competitive. In fact, they actually see a collaboration.
Yeah,
With,
right now it is not.
these
Right
Wi-Fi.
now, I think it's a very low bandwidth. They're
It
running.
is, yeah.
Yeah, so
It's like long fi. So they actually see more collaboration with instead of competition with other like Wi-Fi carriers.
yeah.
But we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
But
exactly. So so the fact that 60% of the revenue that these miners are generating through those hotspots come from the activities that have nothing to do with the data. I mean, that's the activities which is okay. We want to secure the network. Was little of a concern for me. I want to see more growth of the usage of a data, and more revenue generated from data. Then I'll become more interested. But the project is pretty interesting. So I would say that. So we did a deep
they
dive.
need to get rid of the the gaps, and they need to like ramp up their transponders because it's all backlogged. It's so frustrating for people like me who I paid for 4, and now I'm just waiting. So were there some comments?
So Alexis say Helium has a future. I feel it's going to become the next Bitcoin. I would say both of them are basically serving a different use cases. Yes. Zift is, I would consider the price tag of my own health, having more Wi-Fi on top of what I already have. Most people don't consider this price tag for mining a side time. I agree. There are different theories on how these Wi-Fi signals impact our health. And if you are to buy into those, then yeah, may or may not want to have this.
You mean in terms of the signaling and whether to
I
have
think
one
that's,
of these?
yeah, that's what Zift is referring to.
Yeah, they actually it's no more than a radio, having kind of like a transistor radio at home. So it's very, very low. You don't have to worry about any of that from what I've seen so far. But feel free to do your research. I looked into that as well.
Yeah, how much are these selling for these the devices?
Oh, well,
Earlier I was looking at
people
$300 or $500.
So this is a way to make money. I'm not recommending it, but some people are buying it. They get it first, and then they're reselling it on eBay for like twice the price because it's been taking so long and people are getting impatient. So I think each one is what, 400 or 500 or something US.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know how much.
Excuse
It
me.
depends on what you get, right? So I got the Bobcat
So you got a
for
Bobcat.
those.
We had
So
a
then-
guy a couple of weeks ago that bought a bunch of helium, whatever, and sold it
Yeah,
on
so-
Yeah,
eBay.
for a profit, right?
Well, obviously, but the way Vivek described it to me, because I want to use it, I don't want to be caught in this Comcast thing. Is I can't. I'm stuck with Comcast.
yeah, but
The way
Is that bad? You're not getting enough.
No,
I don't
I
know.
want to go cheap.
yeah, so what you can do on the Comcast, you cannot do on the Helium network. So that's why right now the Helium network is only for transmitting for signals with a very less bandwidth, right? So things like, for example,
Yeah,
the Lime scooters.
Well, Vivek, you already described it to me. Thanks a lot.
Right. So Lime scooters, things like that, or your signals from your IoT device and all.
Or a pet transmitter or something.
Yeah, transmitters. Yeah, so it's for those purposes.
Yeah, not for like hooking up your computer.
No, yeah, no way. Right. All right, another thing we saw that SEC approved Volt Equities crypto ETF. This is, even though the name says crypto ETF, this is not that the company is going to invest directly in crypto. The company is basically, this ETF will hold the other publicly traded companies that have are more closer to crypto economy. For example, they might hold MicroStrategy, they might hold a Coinbase, and the companies like that. So 80% of the fund's asset would be invested in cryptocurrency stocks, while remaining 20% will be invested in, did I read it wrongly or do you remember wrongly?
So it's not going to be directly invested in the coin itself, but rather like Coinbase and other.
Yeah, I mean,
So why
SEC
not
hasn't approved
directly
any
invest?
ETF which is on the spot crypto. Right. So this particular.
So why not invest in the company itself as opposed to paying the ETF fee?
You can. The idea is no one wants to take, majority, I shouldn't say no one, but majority of the people don't want to have the hassle of trying to invest in individual stocks. I want to put $5,000 now rather than me trying to buy 2 shares of Coinbase and 5 shares of MicroStrategy and 3 shares of PayPal and things like that. Someone is more comfortable in just investing in an ETF, and get an exposure to a wide variety of cryptocurrency economy. So you get exchanges in it, you get those who have the cryptos on their balance sheet, you get exposure to the companies that are actually in the mining operations, etc. So all that will, you get an exposure. So yeah, if you looking for something like this, looking for an ETF to get exposure to the crypto kind of economy, and at least I've seen MicroStrategy, some of these mining companies like Riot Blockchain, Marathon, Patent, they actually trade pretty much in a strong correlation with how the Bitcoin does. This is their I think that's Marathon Digital, Marathon Patent. And then the Coinbase. So they have a strong correlation with Bitcoin itself. So rather, if you don't want to hold a Bitcoin or don't want to pay the additional for the trust and all that, this is one more way for companies to get exposure to crypto economy. And I see a couple of questions. Alexis says, anyone be using another cheap miner like Bobcat, Goldshell, Mint with success? Yeah. So I don't know. I think earlier we had someone else who actually had Helium. But the results were, I think, so not that great. Yeah. So I think the Helium company or the foundation behind it, they anyway get tons of upfront money by selling these, I guess, these devices. I guess they also make some, they have a third-party manufacturers, plus they also manufacture their own mining gear. And yeah, let me know. I mean, how does that work out for you? So Alexis, are you actively mining Helium? How's been your experience? Would you like to share? It's gone silent. Well, okay.
She may have just been asking the question. I don't know. She was probably thinking about whether she should invest.
Yeah, maybe. Right. Okay, the other thing I noticed, at least in the markets, is all this growth on Bitcoin is in anticipation of we have a separate crypto right now. In anticipation of Bitcoin ETF. Right? But not the ETF not based on spot. Those applications have been pending for years, but SEC seems to be more amenable to allow an ETF based on Bitcoin futures. So as you know, futures have been trading on CME for many years now. The futures were introduced in 2017. So it's been 4 years. So the futures market has got enough depth, enough liquidity. It has matured. And I think that's why SEC is okay to allow ETF based on Bitcoin futures. And I think is VanEck or some other issuer, their deadline is approaching on 18th. If SEC doesn't come back and disapproves it, it means it's considered de facto approved. By default, it will be considered as approved. And that's one reason why currently we are seeing all these run up in Bitcoin, saying at least we'll have some type of ETF available to get an exposure. It's not based on the spot Bitcoin, but it's based on the Bitcoin futures. If that interests you on a futures based ETF, an ETF which is based on a futures of a product, if that interests you, one thing that you should be aware of is the contango bleed that happens on any of these sort of products which are based on futures. If Bitcoin goes high, the ETF based on a future will also go high, but not as high as if you had held the Bitcoin directly. Right? So there is always a drag that happens on a product that is based on a future. So while right now everyone is pretty excited and markets are thinking, okay, we're going to get this ETF and it'll be great for industry, I would rather be cautious, because I think those who understand futures also understand that how there is a contango bleed. I won't get into the details unless someone really wants me to get into what the contango is and what the bleed means. But I'll just take one example to, and this is evident in any type of a product that is based on futures. For example, VIX, which is volatility index. This is the spot VIX. What's the value of VIX? A few days ago, it was 2025. Today, it's close to 19 or 18. Markets were high. VIX probably have gone down today. Maybe let's check it. What's the VIX today? It's close to 18, right? So this is a spot VIX. Now, once we add the futures to it, which becomes VXX, this is based on futures, 2 months futures on the VIX. So this is what's called a contango bleed. Because how the products based on the futures are structured, the structure inherently have them buy at a higher price in the future and have to sell the current one at whatever price it is on. So they have an inherent drag built into it. Right? So gotta be aware of this one. If you're really becoming very excited on, hey, there's a ETF coming on, which is based on Bitcoin future, understand there's inherent drag because of the market, because of the product structure, which is called contango bleed.
When you mentioned the VIX, is there a crypto VIX, or are you referring?
No,
to
that's a stock market VIX.
Is there a crypto VIX at all, or no?
No, there is no crypto VIX. If there is a crypto VIX, this will always, suddenly it's running through the sky. But jokes apart,
Always.
I don't think there is a crypto VIX. I mean, we don't even have a common understanding of what the price of a particular crypto is. You go to a different exchange, it's a different price. There's no common mechanism to determine what the price is, right? So we are too early in this game to find out the equivalent VIX on the crypto side.
There was a question from Ziddy. When is the approval or de facto date?
So I heard that it was October 18th. Let's search for it. I might have Bitcoin future ETF approval. Is it delayed? Okay, I think this is what triggered. It's who had filed it? Where's the filing? What's the issuer? I'm just trying to find it. Well, for weeks that SEC may approve Bitcoin ETF for later use of future contracts rather than the spot Bitcoin. Yeah. So I heard somewhere that it is October 18th. Okay, looks like even ARC has also filed for an ETF. Okay, I didn't know that. They filed it what, today, October 14th? Good signs of this paper approved on the ARKA ticker. Okay, the Valkyrie was the one. Yeah, so I think it's a Valkyrie's ETF, which is the date is 18th, is what I heard. Yeah. Oh, so I didn't know that ARC had filed it recently as well. But again, be aware that there will always be a bleed in terms of how the futures are structured, right? So for example, right now, where's a bit, the Bitcoin is at what, say 57K, for example. And the futures, which is 1 month away, let's say November futures will have a premium of say 1,000, where the October, the future which expires the near end of October will have only a premium, additional premium of 500. So when you get closer to October, basically you'll have to sell the October futures, the issuer, the ETF will have to sell the October futures and have to buy the November futures. So in that case, you're getting that drag of that $500. Right? So that's how this contango or the drag comes into these future products. Not gonna go more detail on contango and backwardations around this. So we'll see, but hopefully, let's see what SEC has to say about it. But one thing was that we didn't see many of the retail investors yet getting into crypto. So right now, most of all the increase that we have seen in Bitcoin is not much is driven by the retail investors. Most of it this is being driven by the institutions or I would say the long-term holders in this place. So we have yet to get a benefit of retail or the short-term holders jumping into the market. When will that happen? I don't know. Maybe those retail investors or those who have taken the profits earlier are still waiting on the sidelines to see how Bitcoin behaves. Maybe if it goes to 60, some of them may want to get back in, before it becomes out of their reach. Maybe if it goes to 65, who knows? But we still have to wait and watch in terms of what's next after this approval. So if the approval doesn't come through, there may be a little bit volatility where it might go back down because it ran up so high in anticipation. And maybe some of the retail investors will then become comfortable saying, okay, maybe we can, pick something up. So right now, I think close to 55K is, if you believe in those technical support and all that, that seems to be the next support around 55K BTC USD. Yeah, and as long as it stays above 55K, I think right now the path is towards upside. But if it breaches 55K, the next one from a technicals that people talk about will be 50K. Right? In the really long term, a stock to flow model have a completely different pictures. That talks about 135K at the end of a year. Now, depending on whom do you believe, you got to have your own investment horizon. Fidelity came and talked about 100K in 2022. Right? So, and as always, this asset is very.
What do you think?
Sorry?
What do you think? What do you think?
I have no idea. All I know is that 5 years down the line, this will have more utility than it has today. What can I do tomorrow? Who knows? And be ready for it to fall 50%, 60%.
Yeah, Alexis actually just commented on that. Bitcoin can drop too. Of
absolutely,
course.
yeah. It has done multiple times, right? So it's not the first time. So it has lost 80% of its value multiple times. But all I know is, and my thesis is that there'll be more usage of this, whether in terms as a store of value or whether in terms of the expansion of the Lightning a network. There'll be more usage of it 5 years down the line.
Yeah, do you feel like crypto is here to stay, right? I mean, that other countries have actually adopted that into their currency. I mean, crypto is not going anywhere, correct?
That is
Even the SEC, Gary Gensler said basically he just wants to regulate, but he
Yes.
doesn't want to ban crypto. So we're okay, we're safe, right?
Yeah, so it's not going to get banned. Definitely US is not going to ban Bitcoin. They might ban some other coins. We'll talk about, I think I have some
What do
concerns
you
on those
think they would
privacy
ban?
coins, but this is not going to ban Bitcoin or Ethereum. Those are the utility tokens.
What would they ban? The altcoins?
No, the privacy related coins, right?
The stable coins.
Not the stable coins, they'll regulate it, because stable coins is a threat to the central CBDCs. So they will regulate the stable coins. But I was talking about the privacy coins, right? Let's say Monero, let's say Zcash. The governments would want to ban those particular coins, because you have almost no way to figure out, who is even transacting on those. I mean, recently there was a naval nuclear engineer and his wife have been implicated by FBI because they were trying to they were selling some nuclear secrets in exchange of, I think, $100,000 or whatever the number was. But the reason why I got interested in, because they were seeking payments in Monero crypto coin, which is considered to be, I would say, the most private and anonymously traded crypto coin. But the couple didn't know that the other party that is transacting was actually FBI. So they got caught in that. So I have concerns on those which are very strong on privacy, like Monero, Zcash. And there are
Alexis actually asked about Olympus coin in the chat.
Olympus is a crypto catching a huge market now. Let's see.
I've never heard of it.
Alexis says, I was there a couple of years ago when 22 dropped to 5K. Alexis, I've been on the same roller coaster. I had picked up in 2017. Also, I picked up some when it was close to 17 and 20. And I think it went lowest to what, 3K. So yeah, been there. So again, you have to have a very long horizon, but I was the opinion that in a few years down the line, there'll be more usage for Bitcoin or Ethereum. I can't say about other coins though.
I feel like, in my opinion, from what I've seen and what I've observed and actually experienced, I feel like Ethereum is going to be out eventually because there's so many alternatives and competitors that are utilizing like MetaMask, and when you have even like Binance, who barely, like, I use Binance almost exclusively, and I use like PancakeSwap and all those altcoins, and the amount of fees that you pay is nothing compared to the Ethereum network. And I feel like unless Ethereum brings down their cost, they're going to be obsolete, in my opinion. I just don't ever want to pay any Ethereum fees. They're ridiculous.
I got a question. On another crypto, they said there's more platforms on Ethereum than any other. Any comments?
I defer to the expert.
Oh, I guess I'm asking Vivek then. There's more
So- so
platforms on
get-
Ethereum.
So
So
I
that-
use MetaMask, which uses and I use you kind of have to add. There's a painstaking process. Use the what is it? The Binance chain network BSC,
Mhm.
but it gets you into PancakeSwap. It's only like pennies per transaction as opposed to like $20 through Ethereum. So with any new projects or any new coins, like why would I pay so much? Like Polygon is cheap too. Matic and why would I pay like that much for Ethereum? I don't
So-
know. I mean,
Yeah. So for example, you could still do transaction on the Polygon network, right?
Yeah.
You could use Polygon and
so much cheaper too.
yeah, Polygon is again. So eventually the transaction will get settled on Ethereum. Doesn't matter whether you're doing on Polygon or on few other. So Ethereum community, not the Ethereum community, but there are scaling solutions which are coming up on Ethereum already. Polygon is not a separate one. Eventually, if you're trading on Polygon, the settlement will happen at Ethereum. Or
That's
if you're,
it. Oh, I didn't know that because I
Well-
have almost like I have a separate on MetaMask. I have a separate I don't know what you call it, but I had to create just like BSC. I had to create a separate
yes. So I mean,
account or whatever.
yeah, I use MetaMask too. So you'll have a separate for Polygon and separate for Ethereum mainnet. But
Yeah.
the way Polygon works is it's a side chain on for Ethereum, right? So
But if you use the bridge, it is so cheap compared to compared to Ethereum itself. Or maybe I'm getting hosed and I don't realize it. I don't know.
So the reason it is cheap is because of the consensus that happens on Polygon network. The proof that's run is on proof of stake, so there is no proof of work involved. And when Ethereum moves to proof of stake next year, the transaction prices will come down because of that. But again, we have to think through it. You are paying less price on other chains, but what is that you are sacrificing in terms of that, right? So that's and I completely hear you that as a developer,
Why would I pay $20 or $40?
exactly.
I mean, honestly, per transaction, honestly, like that is so expensive. That I think that's Ethereum's downfall, unless they do something about it.
Yeah, or the institutions levels may be ready to pay that fee to get a guarantee that they are actually transacting on a completely decentralized network, which an individual or a centralized entity cannot shut it down. BSC, people have some reservations around that. It's kind of owned by Binance. So if CZ decides to shut down, or CZ decides to CZ goes rogue, what happened to all your transactions or all the funds that shows up on BSC? Can those be reversed? I think institutions.
Why would it go rogue though? I mean, it's one of the largest.
Yeah, again, the idea is we are dependent on someone staying honest. So then we are building the same dependency, which the blockchain is trying to avoid. Right? Now you have to depend on a company, Binance, and its owner to keep the Binance Smart Chain, that they won't muck around with the Binance Smart Chain. The whole concept of behind these all blockchains is we don't have to trust. So institutions, we may be okay. I mean, if we are transacting a couple of $1,000, and paying the $20 gas fee hurt us. But if I'm trying to, let's say, run a bond, if I'm trying to sell a bond and I want to have that as a proof of record, I want to use something for system of records, maybe I'll be okay to pay $20, $30, $100, $1,000 because I'm running $100 million bond as an institutional fund. And I want a settlement layer where I can have these records where it is immutable. So depending on those use cases, I think from that perspective, Ethereum may go out of reach of, let's say, doing the normal transactions. For that, there will be a layer 2 scaling solutions. And I think that's what Ethereum community is going towards, is that the layer 1 will focus a lot more on decentralization, a lot more on irreversibility, and leave it on a layer 2. So it's not going to be a monolithic blockchain, which does everything, that it is scalable as well, plus it is completely decentralized, plus it is, you can get all the benefits. What the community may be looking at, and this is again, from my reading, I'm not a part of Ethereum community, that what the Ethereum might be going in saying, let's have L2 build the scaling solutions. We want to be very focused on staying decentralized. We want to be focused on becoming a system of records, right? So
I just want to make sure that I'm not speaking too loud, because I think maybe my microphone, I'm on a phone, so maybe it's transmitting a lot more. I'm going to hold the phone away when I speak next time.
Okay.
Hopefully that's better for the group. Am I like shouting at you, megaphone wise?
for me,
Tell me if this is better.
I'm enjoying this interaction. So
If this is too loud, I can move this away even further. But I apologize if for some reason my phone is like magnifying my voice. Apologize. Let me know if this is better.
Yeah, this is cool. So that's why. Again, depending on different use cases, some of the chains will survive, some may not. So again, I remember some projects of 2017, right? Without, those will be great projects. Those will be, will change the world. I don't see them anymore. There were many Ethereum competitors, and like we had Tron, we had EOS, we had Cardano. At that point of a time, none of them are around. Cardano is still around. They are still working through, still building the block, all the functionalities. Nobody talks about EOS anymore. 4 years ago, EOS was like, okay, they're going to replace it, right? Cosmos used to be, again, we're going to replace Ethereum. And that's not to say that someone will not replace. Again, the idea is how exactly they're trying to create something which is better than Ethereum. Are they trying to sacrifice on decentralization? Or are they bringing in better technology? Looking at, now I was studying about Algorand. That seems to be, have, based on what I heard and from, in a different, read in different papers from Sylvia Micali, and I heard about his talks on YouTube in various institutions that he gave. They may have found a way to solve this blockchain trilemma, right? But they are very early in the cycle. So not sacrificing the decentralization, still trying to scale by bringing in a completely different way of doing consensus. Right? So Algorand, that interests me more than what Solana interests me. Again, you have to study it and then figure out where you are comfortable with. That's all I would say. Okay. All right, so let's talk about a little bit of a privacy coin. I know Zifty wanted to know a little bit on what are some of the privacy coins, how that work. So we'll touch base upon a few of them, 2 or 3 of them, spend a little more time on Monero. If any one of you have actually used Monero and have done a deep dive on it, feel free to contribute. I have not used it. I haven't spent much time on it, except that what I had to prepare for today's discussion. So first of all, what are these privacy coins? Why is there a need for privacy coins? Right. So 5-6 years ago, Bitcoin was supposed to be called as, oh, it's a private, the transactions are anonymous. That's if you want to, if you don't want to show that, you want to hide your transactions from the world, you, instead of trading in US dollars, you basically pay in Bitcoin. And then suddenly we realize that it's not anonymous, it's pseudonymous. And anytime if you have to sell your Bitcoin, or you have to convert your Bitcoin into a fiat currency, because eventually you want to get the currency that you can spend and buy the goods that you want to buy, then you run a risk of, getting identified. And especially the Bitcoin blockchain, Ethereum blockchains, there are open blockchains, public blockchain. Every transaction is listed out there. And if I know your public address, which is, if you want someone to contribute to you and you have to share your public address, I know that I can go and find out on the blockchain how much funds you have. So folks realize that is really not secret. And now we have also figured out, how quickly FBI and the other law enforcement agencies can go and figure out, run the analysis. And there are companies that work only on doing analysis of transactions and helping law enforcement agencies. So it's not really opaque. It's a open public blockchain. So then other coins started coming up, other projects started to come up, which will say, we will be completely private. If you're transacting, folks won't even know in terms of who is transacting it and what's the amount. And the idea is you can be completely anonymous and trade or exchange without sacrificing your privacy. So some of those privacy coins, many of these have been around for long. Monero has become the most popular. In 2017, the Dash and Zcash were also very popular, but I don't hear about Dash and Zcash anymore. When it comes to any illicit activity, only thing I hear is, okay, the players have asked to deal in Monero rather than the other ones. So how does this Monero achieves it? So they basically apply two things. One is the stealth address. Stealth address means every time you transact, a new address is generated. By the way, it's a good practice for us as a retail investors also to generate a new address every time we want to receive any coins or transferring any coins. Say if you hold coins on your own wallet, and you say you bought something on Coinbase and you want to transfer it to your own wallet, generate a new address on wallet. Doesn't cost anything. But for every transaction, if you generate a new address, even though the address is visible on the public blockchain, but it will only show the amount of that one transaction. So maybe say you are buying 1/10 of a Bitcoin every month. If you use the same address to transfer it to your wallet, anyone running analysis on the blockchain, on Blockchain Explorer, can find out that after 10 months, you got 1 Bitcoin in that address. But if you are generating a new address every time, they'll find out, okay, it's 1/10 Bitcoin in that address. So this is
how do you generate a new address? Is that an option? Maybe it might be an option on Coinbase, but how do you just randomly, when I have MetaMask or any of the others, I have a fixed address. So how do you change that?
So I don't know about MetaMask, but I use for hardware wallet, I use LedgerX, and then you can go and say, create a new address. So you can create a new
That's
address.
the hard wallet option.
Yes, I have a hard
Benefit.
wallet. I haven't done that on MetaMask. I haven't looked at MetaMask.
Okay.
But on a hard wallet you have. I know that on I think for ADA on the Deadless wallet, for every transaction, they say, if I want to say a new wallet, it actually suggests, it actually grays out the addresses that I've already used. And then I have to especially click on a button and say, okay, I want to reuse an existing address. Right? So that's a good practice anyway. So Monero, the way it also makes transactions more private is by default, they always generate a new address. Number two, they use a ring confidential transactions. In means when you are signing it, there are multiple people, several signers will sign the transaction. So we don't know who actually is the owner of the transaction. So first of all, it's a new address. And then a transaction is signed by multiple signees. And then you don't know who actually is a true signer or for that transaction. The rest could be phony. And third is you actually can also hide the amount to be sent. So the miners who are mining these transactions will not even see the amount. So they will see the rest, but they won't see the amount. So that's how, Monero is trying to achieve, trying to become the most private crypto coin, using the stealth addresses, so more important is the ring signature.
Do you know
Now,
if it's tax, like can the IRS track? I
So
imagine anything
here's
that comes
the
out of
deal.
any account.
So here's the deal. If you take it to your Coinbase and you convert it to, if it is in your Coinbase account, then Coinbase knows about you. Then IRS knows about you. But if you are in a self-hosted wallet, that's where the thing. So if you are in any of this in the whole chain, if anywhere you are dealing with regulated entities, that becomes the weak link. But if you're not dealing it with any of the regulated entities, let's say you're only having your own hosted wallet and you have no need to convert it into a fiat currency, then I won't say it won't, but I think then it becomes very difficult.
What do you think about gift cards?
Which one?
Converting to gift cards?
So even if you convert a gift card from whichever the gift card provider.
Just say it's like it's not what is it, and not KYC. Just say it's like KuCoin, which is no KYC. If you converted that to just say a gift card,
yeah,
would they know?
Right. Yeah, if KuCoin is still serving US customers and it doesn't do KYC, then there is still that loophole is there. So we can escape that, right? If there are regulated entities which are doing KYC, at least on the US side, so those becomes the failure points. Right?
Binance US, not Binance.
Binance
US
is a regulated one. Kraken is regulated. Yeah. Gemini is regulated. Coinbase is regulated. But if there are some exchanges that are not regulated and still not doing KYC, yeah, then those exchanges don't know about you. So if they don't know about you, they cannot tell anyone else because they themselves don't know who you are.
As long as you don't deposit directly into your bank account. Not like I've done any of this because, again, I'm a newbie, but I just hear a lot of things and I've been reading a lot about things. And, I don't necessarily want to skirt, I'm not trying to skirt the IRS, but I'd also like to know how to best approach taxes in the most efficient way possible. That's all.
Plus, but be aware that many of these unregulated exchanges may stop servicing US customers anytime. And how would they know that your customers is unless you're using VPN, etc. They'll say, okay, this request is coming from this IP address. They might say that we cannot service you because they may be afraid that US government will go after them, right? Just like many of the, all exchanges have now stopped servicing users from China. So they don't.
I'm sure they all had VPN, honestly.
Yes.
If I were in China, I would go VPN.
Yes,
and
you could,
just go
like,
or
you could
something.
start that, but again, there will be a government will start to crack down on those as well. So, for example, I had an account with Poloniex, and then I think maybe a year, 2 years ago, got an email saying, oh, we will not be able to serve you anymore, as we have to move your assets from Poloniex to some other exchange. And now, if I have not been, I don't watch that point of a time. It was a crypto winter. I wasn't watching or very active on day-to-day basis. So I will look into my email, or my account once in a month, etc. And what if I miss that and suddenly find myself logged out and no way to get back in? But, it happens. And I think now whoever bought Poloniex recently paid fine to SEC. I forgot which exchange. I think it's is FTX. No, one of these exchanges actually bought Poloniex, and now they settled with SEC because Poloniex was operating without license and was serving US customers. So the moment they realized this, they sent an email saying you have, the access will be withdrawn after a certain time. So you got Monero, and looks like there are more than one Monero. There have been multiple splits already happened, but the XMR still is the biggest one, right? Okay, so next is the Zcash. And now there are different techniques that each of these privacy coins use. So Zcash uses zero knowledge proof. So ZKP is a very common phrase in the cryptography world. Not common for me, or because I'm not from this industry, but ZKP is used in multiple other applications. So it provides them an option to shield your transactions, and again, it also obfuscate the transaction amount. There is another one which is called Dash. So Dash uses the concept of conjoin, means they will add multiple transactions into a mixer. So say I am trying to send 1/100th of a Bitcoin. Someone else is trying to send 1/10th of a Bitcoin. They'll probably mix all those together and then create an entirely new set of transactions. This is what called is conjoin. And so that it is impossible to figure out who was sending or transacting in what amount, right? And also, I think one of them, so that's Dash. Another one is Verge. I don't hear that Verge about anymore, except in the very recently when one of the website they stopped. No, I think they were accepting Verge. Then under the pressure from the regulated banks, they stopped accepting Verge. And then the community went against them, the users protested, and they again started accepting Verge. So I think I can't recall the name, but that's a website which focuses on adult entertainment. So Verge uses a different one. They uses the Tor to basically hide your IP addresses. Right? So again, these are 3-4 very popular ones. I saw, I don't know, Alexis mentioned about Olympus. I don't know if that was in reference to the privacy coin discussion that we started, or was that a different one? But nowadays, I mostly hear about Monero. I don't hear about Verge anymore, except about the news that I talked about. And Zcash and Dash also not, I guess, not doing too much. So maybe we'll go back and check where these are. So looks at Monero XMR. So 4 billion. What's the Zcash? About Dash? It's like almost half of what Monero's 24 hour. Let's look at 24-hour volume. This is 331 million. This is under 90 million. Oh, so this is actually being used more. Dash Zcash. So that's about a little bit of primer on privacy coins. What's the need? Because eventually figured out the Bitcoin is actually not that anonymous. So, and authorities can figure out on the Bitcoin side. Okay. All right, last 4 minutes left. Maybe we'll quickly look at the digital asset funds flow report. And then if there are any questions, we'll go through it. Otherwise, call it a day. So, all right, let's look at what's happening from the funds flow perspective. So this is as of 11th October. So means talks about a previous week. Total inflow, still it saw more inflow into the funds. Bitcoin saw inflow of 225 million, which is majority of that was Bitcoin. Ethereum saw minor outflows. Solana and Cardano continue to see inflow on the CoinShares EDFs, right? Grayscale still continue to stay is the biggest one. And then there are some of the others. So basically what this does is they gather information from them and find out who is buying, what coins are flowing into the different funds week to week basis, right? This is not net, but week to week basis, what is happening. Total asset under management is only 5% short of all-time high. So, and Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're not on all-time high yet. We'll see where they end up into. So that's on the fund flow perspective. If anyone interested getting into the details of this, you can just Google for CoinShare fund flow report. It's available. I mean, it's free, no login required. CoinShare fund flow report. Right. Cool. What else do you want to talk about? Last 2 minutes. Anything else?
Yeah. Well, I can't get into cryptos because I forget whatever they don't sell Solana. Excuse me, what's that company I joined? SoFi.
SoFi.
So this week SoFi's been going up. I mean, it's no fidelity. It only sells a few cryptos.
Yeah, so if you really want to engage in crypto,
Any comments on SoFi?
SoFi as a company,
Yeah, like I said, it's not as other than a few cryptos, it doesn't really do it for me. My money's just sitting there.
Yeah, so SoFi is more on its overall, I would say it's a fintech company. Crypto is just one part of their business. And right now, every fintech company, which is basically allowing users to buy or sell anything, is getting into crypto because the fee that they generate is huge. But if you really want to be active on the crypto side, when I say active means at least understanding and want to buy and hold or something, may open an account in a crypto exchange. Or a bigger broker. So Coinbase, Gemini, Kraken, on the US side, I think Voyager is also there. There are a bunch of these exchanges because they will list the projects and much sooner than what the SoFi's etc. would do it. And again, the amount of revenue that SoFi, crypto is just one part of their business, right? So obviously their focus on the crypto will be limited to how much revenue they can bring in from crypto as a part of their overall revenue. For Coinbase, It is the 100%. Okay, let's say 80%, another 20% they get from their custody management and some of the other solutions, but 80% of their revenue is coming from the transaction that users do on Coinbase Exchange. So obviously they will have more focus on making that experience better, means list the coins that everyone wants to trade in. Hell, they listed Dogecoin, right? Why? Everyone wants to trade Dogecoin. On Robinhood, Dogecoin like brings in 75% of their crypto transaction volume. So then the SoFi may not be the best platform. Cool. Okay, anything? Any other
Wondering
thing?
what your thoughts are. So on the Meetups group, I actually attended this other crypto meeting in Orange County, California. And I felt like it was a scam, honestly. It's called Hyperfund.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you've heard of it.
No.
But it seemed like a pyramid scheme. I don't know what your thoughts are, but it's really rampant across meetups. Just wondering what your thoughts are, or if you have any thoughts.
No, I don't know about this one on Hyperfund, etc. So again, I think wherever there is money coming in, people going in, and people have money to invest, there are a lot of scammers that will come around.
Oh, Vivek, when are you going to come up with your crypto coin? I'll buy a few.
You know, you could do one for like under $5. Did you ever? There's a YouTube. Just Google or YouTube it. And be like, if you look, make your own cryptocurrency. Have you done that?
No, but I mean, I don't have a, so I don't have a need to do that. I mean, you can create your own NFT, you can create your own coin. Creating that is it's not difficult, right? But I don't have a project that I want to build on it. Then I have to leave what I'm doing and be 100% on it. Again, I'm a retail investor. I got a full-time job. I invest in stock market. For me, right now, the crypto is, hey, I want to earn additional income apart from my job. So I'm right now, I'm not looking to create my own fund or to create my own NFTs or coins to get investments from others. So no, I'm not.
It'd be so cool to have your own coin, honestly, not to get investment from other people, but just like if you go on YouTube, I looked this up. It's like, I would say like $10 at most, but they give you the code and everything and they show you exactly how to do it. But you can create your own coin, but just kind of for a birthday gift or whatever.
Yeah, I'm sure, that would be easy because you can always make a copy of Bitcoin or any other coin and create it. Maybe you only have your own miner software. You can, just run one mining rig, you mine your own coin and be it, right? Yeah, I'm sure there will be. I right now have no interest in doing that. But what I'm interested in, at least creating my Ethereum login and use ENS. That is something which I want to try. Today, the reason is this. I was just thinking around this, right? Today, if you go to many websites, either you can create your own username and password, or most of the websites now support login with Google, login with Facebook, login with, I think these are the two most common. Probably I'm missing a few. But if we have a Ethereum and identity solutions on Ethereum, sometimes we might see login with Ethereum. So I would be interested in actually creating my own identity on Ethereum platform. I don't know. I have to look out if there is a solution or is there a products that actually identity solutions that exist on that or not. But that I would be interested in. Coins in the NFTs, I'll give it a pass for now. Maybe once I'm done with the job and sitting on the beach, we'll get these ideas to create all this fun stuff. All right.
Thank you. Actually, this was my first session with you guys because I've been recently been getting into this, but you've been so helpful and I love the questions from the group and the dialogue. This is awesome. So I will be here again.
Sure, you're welcome, and thanks for joining in. I mean, the whole idea was that this space changes so rapidly that unless you are in the blockchain industry or working in, the companies that focused on crypto economy, it's difficult to catch up. So I've been going through the same pain, the full-time job is not in this industry. But I want to understand about this, and I want to see how we can benefit as an investor. The best is to learn from each other. That's one. Okay, we'll start this. That's why I started this group, Cryptos for All. Let's try to learn from each other. And thanks for you all who join in and have these questions which make me think, and we basically learn from each other's experiences. So thank you. What I also do is we also meet. I know some of you also join on the Saturday where we focus on the stock market. And if you're interested in learning or analyzing on the stock market side, most welcome. But that's on a Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 or 12:30 Pacific time. So it's if you look into
12 p.m. or 12 a.m.
It's a 12 p.m. So if you go and I don't know, does Meetup shows what are the other meetups I have? So I have another one which is options for retail investors. So actually, that's something which I've done 100 sessions. We used to cover crypto in that session, but then we realized crypto is becoming too big that it needed a separate meetup of its own. And then that's where I separated out of crypto. And the Saturday, we just focus on the stocks, IPOs, options, how to use it, and have more discussion on that. Cool.
Yeah, I don't know where to find you on meetups. Would you be able to post a link to this group or something?
Okay,
I would join.
Okay, let me just I'll just post a link
or put it in chat.
Yeah, I'll put it in chat right away. Yeah, so this I've been doing for quite some time. We just finished 104 sessions. Yeah. Cool.
All right, great.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night, and I'll see some of you on Saturday. But otherwise, we'll meet again on next Thursday.